Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's like 4:30 my time. What we lovingly call the 100 Days of Hell are starting at the Garden Center, which just means it's really busy season in a state that's very seasonal. So Colorado, obviously, everything dies in the winter, so everybody buys a lot of new plants in the spring. So, but having been out of the Garden Center for a couple of years, I'm so grateful to be there. It's so fun, but it's going to be a lot of hours, which is also great because for now, at least until I get promoted, I get paid hourly. So, and I get paid well, and I get paid very well with overtime. So, but like Friday, I didn't get home till 11, and then I was back at the store at 5:30 a.m. and I live like 40 minutes away. So I was gone and back within 6 hours, and then I was there like 11 hours yesterday. So anyway, but I also love it. It's so fun, and it's so nice to be in an environment that I want to be in, on a team I want to be with people that I understand, that I vibe with, where I feel like I do have a good potential future, and I just genuinely enjoy the people I work with. And I genuinely enjoy plants and talking gardens, and I'm getting much better at the grills and power equipment, which is my department, getting much better at those things. So, I've said it's a time for reflection, it's a time to appreciate, it's a time to be grateful. I'm still gonna do some readings here and there. I just feel like I'm having a lot of insights these days, and I'm so grateful for that. And the more I reflect and appreciate, the more that expands. So I'm gonna read from Abraham's The Vortex. And what I love about this book is Jerry's basically just asking a series, Jerry's asking Abraham a series of questions. And they're very good. So this goes in a different direction a bit or it goes a lot deeper than the initial question, I feel like. But let's go with this. So it says, what is natural for mating humans? That's what the section is called. Jerry. So Jerry's asking this question. But which is more natural, having one mate or several? Should men have more than one wife at a time? Or should women have more than one husband at a time? Even today, our cultures disagree about these things. Abraham, the response of Abraham. Your question points directly at another very large, very flawed premise. Flawed premise number 13. So Jerry asks questions and Abraham responds, but in this section is kind of bringing up the flawed premise that we have as one of our foundational beliefs we kind of sometimes don't realize we have. So flawed premise number 13. Coffee. It's getting good. There are right ways and wrong ways to live, and all people should discover and agree on what the right way of living is, and then that right way should be enforced. This is huge. This is even fascinating right now. So let me read it again. So remember, this is a flawed premise that we have, that there are right ways and wrong ways to live, and all people should discover and agree on what the right way of living is, and then that right way should be enforced. A couple of points on this. So a Christian mindset, like I was raised with, would really hate this. They would say I shouldn't say they would hate it. They would feel it points at an ethical or moral grayness, that there would be no distinctions, and that all human behavior would sort of, devolve into lusty parties, or I don't know, something of that nature, right? But that you need right and wrong. The flawed premise in that is God created everyone and created all these different ways to live. And if there was only one right way to live, then a loving God would have just created everyone to want that same way. But it wouldn't be interesting. And we, especially in the US, claim to uphold the right to freedom. And for people to think differently than us. And yet we are actually quite intolerant of how other people think. And that includes the people who are all about diversity, because if you're all about diversity, you're also all about supporting people who don't agree with your view of diversity. It's always creating that bridge of understanding to the people you disagree with most that shows your own confidence in your beliefs, your grace, and your ability to understand that everyone believes they are right where they stand with the same urgent passion, right? We seem to think that we somehow feel more right than others. So there's that point, which is great. Like there are no right ways and wrong ways to live, basically. Everyone's just exploring. That's why God created an environment full of variety, which is much more logical. And then we think that all people should discover and agree on the right way living is, and then the right way should be enforced. But that goes against freedom, which is one of our underlying foundational principles of this country. And so it's interesting that people who often feel that they're patriots or more all about the country also want to force other people to think a certain way, or even by taking things by force or coercion. Or it's just very interesting. So let's continue. So that's the flawed premise. And Abraham continues to explain. This flawed belief that there is only one right decision about any topic is at the heart of tremendous discord and upheaval. And again, I want to bring up too the woke culture that says like everyone has to agree with how I think about everything. That's what I don't like about it. It's great to be open to other people, but when you're trying to force other people to be open to other people, you're closing other people off, in which case you're not actually supporting openness, right? And so one of the biggest things for me that has shifted with really getting this point is realizing that everybody's responsible for where they are. It's not even my job to rescue anyone because I can't. They are the ones creating their environment. Now, if they reach out a hand and ask for help, and I think are really open to it, then there's a different conversation, but it's still not about helping them. It's just about being there when they need that guiding hand or that wise word or whatever it is, that touch point, but keeping them focused on what they think they want and what they think will make them happy, and not getting involved. It's very important to not get what you want involved, because for a lot of us that learn to attune to what other people want from us, we can't get clear in relationships and other people with what we want unless we're in relationship with people who create a space for us to not be obligated to anything. Like it's a space of freedom. Like you choose what you need, and my happiness doesn't depend on your choices. And I'm beginning to see, because I'm looking at going back for a master's in coaching in August, and I've been questioning, is that really what I want to do again? And it's being shown to me how I could serve and be in line with these foundational beliefs and not have to worry about taking on fixing anyone's life or helping them or analyzing them in any way. So anyway, with that, I will continue. It is fortunate that you have no way of enforcing this flawed concept. Let's start again. This flawed belief that there is only one right decision about any topic is at the heart of tremendous discord and upheaval. We see this all over the world right now. You must agree with me, I'm right, you're wrong, and the pain that occurs on all sides. It is fortunate that you have no way of enforcing this flawed concept, for if you could, it would surely lead to the end of beingness. That's what a big deal it is to not have people forced to all think and feel the same way, and of course it's impossible. In other words, since all expansion is born from the new intentions and ideas that are born from the contrast, elimination of the contrast would stop expansion. Do not worry, for that will never be the case, for the perfect balance of diversity has been very well established and flows with the laws of the universe. We are not discussing these things with you to preserve mankind or eternity, because none of that is in jeopardy. We do discuss it with you, however, because your joyful survival is predicated upon your understanding of these things. In other words, humanity's survival isn't on the line, but your happiness and enjoying the journey is. When your life causes you to radiate a request into your vibrational escrow, your emotional guidance system will help you find vibrational alignment with it. So in other words, you ask, it's put out there, you got to get happy so you can have it come into physical manifestation in its fullest capacity. And finding that alignment, being happy, is necessary to your joyful fulfillment and expansion. And no laws that are apart from that have any bearing on you. The majority of the laws that surround you, both religious and secular, were written by those not in alignment with the broader perspective of Source. Your laws are usually written from the perspective of what is not wanted, for sure. And so many people spend a tremendous amount of time in argument about which laws are right and which laws are wrong, and in doing so, hold themselves apart from their expanded perspectives. In other words, when we're focusing on things that make us unhappy, like fighting legislation or focusing even our culture and politics, just so focused on what's happening on each issue and where we're at. And what happens is we get out of alignment with ourselves because we're just feeling so unhappy and fearful and anxious, and the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and we're losing our rights, and we miss this like pendulum swing that just keeps happening. Like we as the people are still in control, just even though we're trying to give up control as much as possible, we could take it back at any time. So the goal, while it feels irresponsible at first, is truly to look at things that make us feel happy and just disregard the rest and let that work itself out. Because when we're happy, we truly are more powerful people. We truly can impact environments, places, things without even doing that action to change the world, if that makes sense. Our thoughts create the reality. So again, scary thoughts create a scary world. Violent thoughts create a violent world. Watching violent things creates a violent world. Happy thoughts creates a happy world. And you don't need to share it and have other people see it, like on social media or anywhere, in order for you to already be sharing it, if that makes sense. Probably not. And then they use the negative emotion that they feel. So people hold themselves apart from their expanded perspectives because they're unhappy, because they're focusing on all this not wanted stuff. And then they use the negative emotion that they feel, which exists because of their separation from Source, as their justification for their arguments. When you no longer seek the final word on the rightness of your behaviors, and instead seek alignment with the Source within you by finding thoughts, words, and deeds that fill you with love while you participate, you will understand that it is possible to live upon this planet with large numbers of other beings who believe and behave in a variety of ways in peace. Because when you're happy, you don't care what other people are doing. When you are able to focus in such a way as to allow your alignment with Source, being happy, even though others are choosing to behave differently than you are choosing, then you will be truly free from the bondage of attempting the impossible task of getting everyone to agree on one right thing, one right way. One right way would lead to endedness. Many right ways allows eternal expansion. Freedom really is the answer. It's our lack of ability to feel good when other people don't think like we do that actually takes our freedom away. When we are feeling happy and joyous and free, nothing can impact you. It's really an internal condition, and that's what this is talking about, and I really appreciate it. But for those of us that were sort of trained to be empaths, or I've learned a lot more about that's really being attuned to others. And while it's okay to a certain extent, I am letting go of a lot more of that, because I realize that each person is where they are because that's where they are and that's where they need to be. And if they, again, want to reach out and ask for help or something, that's one thing, but really it's just my job to focus on what other people want and believe in them, because thoughts are creative and thoughts are powerful, and otherwise keep myself feeling good. And the better I feel, which is not realistic to do all the time, I'm getting that more and more, and I'm understanding, but the better I feel, the more positive the energy that I am that flows out to others, rather than me reading other people's energy and allowing it to flow into me. Sort of like a reversal of the energy flow system. Like, I want to have a power of influence that impacts the place I'm in a positive way, where everybody feels good and happy, or more capable, and has more inspiration and potential opening up for them in a space where I exist, because I'm that space for myself, for others. I'm getting this more and more, and I really appreciated the way this said this. All right, I'll just finish this real quick. It says, the reason why people believe that they need laws to control others around them is that they believe that the behaviors of others can negatively impact them. But when you come to understand that nothing can come into your experience unless you invite it through thought, then you understand that you can release the impossible task of trying to control the behaviors of others and replace it with the much simpler task of controlling the direction of your own thoughts. And the fascinating thing is, we're so attuned to others and controlling their behavior and opinions of us, we think that's easier than controlling our own thoughts, because we have not disciplined our minds at all, because we haven't been taught the power of our thoughts, or the connection between our thoughts and what's showing up in our lives. So to reverse it takes a minute. We really think it's more about controlling others. And when I say control others, because I don't seem overtly controlling, so it took me a while to figure out how I was controlling others, because I knew I was, because it was showing up in others, and I know that everything's a mirror, but I control others through controlling their opinion of me, or at least I used to do it a lot. And most people do that, because if you value the opinions of others, then the things they say and do can impact how we feel about ourselves. And when you do that, you're giving your power over, then you get resentful. It just kind of messes everything up. You have to let people react to you how you are, and you have to be how you are, because you can't be anything else. And so I think that's part of the growing up process too, and confidence process. So we have come to remind you about the art of allowing your vibrational alignment with all that you have come to be and to desire. There's enough room in this very large, very diverse physical world for all that you're wanting. And every awful or abhorrent thing that you see exists only because someone is disallowing the well-being that would be there otherwise. The law of attraction is the law that manages all things that are vibrational, and all things are vibration. You do not have to work at that law, it just is. If you will put your attention toward understanding and applying the art of allowing, the art of being happy, right? Or improving your mood over time, really incrementally, you will live in joy regardless of what others are doing. And what freedom is that? Right? Freedom from other people's opinions. And the funny thing is, like I was saying, we resent other people really mainly because at that point we have to realize we are giving away our power to care about what they think. They're allowed to have their opinions, and we don't have to care. We can love them, we can appreciate them, we can ask them questions about their opinions. We can safely talk about difference of opinion and understand that it's not going to impact our own, but we can learn from each other. But that comes from standing in your own power and confidence of knowing your mind. And I think that's what I'm missing in women too, is seeing empowered women who aren't so defensive. I don't want to be a defensive woman. I don't need to be defensive against men. I don't mind if they find me attractive. If they say something inappropriate, I'm allowed to say that's inappropriate. Don't. There's this, it's a different time. Anyway, topic for another video. Let me keep talking. It's only another sentence or two. Just remember, during the time you're giving your attention to those who are not joyful, you're not practicing the art of